Hello and welcome to this deep work summary by Cal Newport. So in this video I want to go over what I think were the key points from this book. Overall I thought it was an excellent book and I'd give it a 9 out of 10. There are definitely some applicable strategies here that you can use to make sure you get into deep work. With the modern technology, there's so many distractions and notifications we have popping up all the time that this book is very useful for you to go in and to be able to bang out a lot of productive work without getting distracted by the different mediums we have out there. So the first point that really stuck out to me was to not multitask. So multitasking is not equal to productivity. The more tasks that we take on, it shows that our productivity actually drops off. As well as that, when you switch from task A to task B, you normally stay attached to that first task. So when you are on that second task, then you're only half as focused when you're carrying it out because you've been switching between the two. The second point then was to disconnect. So if you are electronically connected all the time, that it's going to be bad for you. Anything that pops up on your screen at all, any sort of notification, this is going to take your attention away and it will take you a lot longer then to bring your focus back to that initial task. As well as that then, McKinsey did a study that was in this book that 60% of the work week is spent on communication tools and surfing the web for different employees. Point 3 then was the 3 approaches that there are to doing deep work. So the first type is monastic, and this is to seclude yourself like a monk and to avoid any distractions. So there's a lot of authors that are in this book, and what they did was they went and secluded themselves in a countryside cabin, and this gives them ability then to get away from all sort of mediums of distraction. And they have no Wi-Fi as well then in these different cabins. This gives them a lot of time to be productive and to work on their writing. Bill Gates is actually an example in this. So Bill Gates used to use things called think weeks. This is where he would take 2 1-week periods and he would go and seclude himself. This is while he was at his prime in Microsoft, and he said he was able to grow the value of Microsoft so well because he had these think weeks to be able to be left alone with his thoughts and read a lot. The second strategy then to get into for deep work is bimodal. So this is where you set long and clearly defined periods of seclusion for a work week and leave the rest of the time free then. So you would set these blocks from the start of the week, you would stick to those blocks and then completely take a break when you finish those blocks. The benefit of taking a break here is that it's going to rejuvenate you when you go into the next block. If you try to stay at deep work too long, you're not going to do it effectively. You really need to take those breaks to be able to give yourself the longevity to keep going back to the work. The third style then is the rhythmic approach, and this is a habit of deep work of doing it in blocks of 90 minutes. So you need to use your calendar for this as well. So there is an example in the book where one guy uses his calendar and he marks a red X on it every day. By having this momentum and seeing the red X's, it's going to keep you motivated then to stick to those deep work habits and keep crossing off those different blocks as well. So make sure that you're able to schedule those blocks in your calendar, and then if you have to move them around at all, you can change around the blocks, but make sure you're doing the same amount every week. And this will also develop your discipline then as well if you have it in block form. Hey, if you're getting some value from this video, can you smash the like button? So point 4 then is to summon deep work. So for deep work there are 2 elements, and that's for it to be intentional and for it to be desired. You must have rituals for you to be able to get into the zone with deep work. Something like having a do not disturb sign outside your door. And you'll know once you put up that sign that you have to get into the zone then to start your deep work. As well as that then you could define boundaries, so you could switch off the router that's in your house so you'll have no access to Wi-Fi. You can also turn off your phone or leave it in another room. And once you engage in this first action then, it will really tell your body and mind that you're switching in to start deep work. As well as that then, give your body what it wants so that you can engage in the work. So if it needs coffee or if it needs food or some sort of light exercise. Charles Darwin used to go on walks in between his deep work breaks, and this really rejuvenated his mind to help him write his best pieces during his career. Point 5 then is to improve your focus. So meditation can rewire your brain and really help you focus. A point that Cal Newport goes into in this book is to really use your unproductive moments. So if you are in an unproductive moment, such as on your commute, really think about an obstacle or a mental block that you're facing at that moment, maybe in the workplace. So really try and focus on how you can get past that obstacle in this unproductive moment, and don't let your mind wander at all. Completely stay fixated on that. When you go back to your desk then and you sit down, you are a lot more likely to have these breakthroughs, which will make your deep work a lot more effective by having these unproductive unproductive moments that you make productive. As well as that, then try and quit social media for 30 days and assess the impact after it then. When you look back, think, is there any way your life would have been better in these 30 days if you got to use social media? If it's not at all, then maybe it's time to scrap it. And point 6 then is to schedule your work and your free time. This will help restore your energy, and it will help you be mindful then of the different periods you have. If you also are able to schedule your free time, you'll be a lot more happy when you're in that free time because you'll know it's the break from work. As well as that, then you want to schedule 30-minute blocks in your calendar of eating, working and relaxing. If something changes in your schedule, then you're able to rearrange these blocks to make sure that you still get in the sufficient amount of deep work blocks by the end of the week. As well as that, then you want to plan your weekends and your evenings and limit your email. So at the end of every working day, you want to have a ritual that makes you switch off from work completely, so that you don't look at emails or you're not keeping one eye on your phone with work texts coming through. If you do this, you'll be a lot more refreshed when you come into work the next day. And look, that's pretty much it then for my overview and summary of this book by Cal Newport. Hey, thanks for watching. Subscribe to my channel now to stay up to date with the latest videos. See you soon.